What if a nation born out of the ashes of war could unite diverse ethnicities, religions, and cultures under one banner? This was the ambitious dream behind the formation of Yugoslavia. In the wake of World War I, the kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes emerged in 1918, intending to unite these diverse groups under a single nation. This was an unprecedented experiment, a bold attempt to bring together different ethnicities, religious beliefs, and cultural traditions that had coexisted yet separately for centuries. The formation of this new nation was met with a hopeful optimism. The ravages of the Great War had left a profound desire for peace, and this new kingdom, later known as Yugoslavia, was seen as a beacon of unity and coexistence. It was a dream of consolidation, an aspiration to create a harmonious blend of the South Slavic peoples. But the creation of Yugoslavia was not without its challenges. The task of merging such diverse groups was a complex endeavor. Each of these groups, Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes, had their own distinct histories, traditions, and identities. They had different religious affiliations, Orthodox, Catholic, and Muslim. And their languages, while similar, had their distinct nuances. The political landscape was equally intricate. The kingdom was a constitutional monarchy, headed by the Serbian Karađorđević dynasty. Navigating the delicate balance of power, ensuring fair representation, and managing the diverse interests of the constituent ethnic groups was a monumental task. The idea was to create a single, national identity, a Yugoslav identity, that would supersede the individual ethnic identities. However, the reality proved to be more complicated than the vision. The dream of unity was not universally shared, and tensions simmered beneath the surface. Some groups felt marginalized, their cultural identities overshadowed by the drive for a unified Yugoslav identity. Despite these challenges, the formation of Yugoslavia was a significant moment in history. It represented a daring experiment in nation-building, an attempt to forge unity from diversity to create a single nation from a patchwork of ethnicities, cultures, and religions. This dream of unity, however, was soon to be tested. Imagine a nation, barely a decade old, plunged into a royal dictatorship and then into the throes of the Second World War. This was Yugoslavia under King Alexander I, a country on the precipice of cataclysmic change. King Alexander ascended to the throne in 1921 following the assassination of his father. His reign was marked by a fervent desire to unify the diverse ethnic groups within Yugoslavia, a task easier said than done. In 1929, frustrated by political squabbles and ethnic tensions, King Alexander dissolved the parliament and established a royal dictatorship. He sought to suppress regional identities and promote a unified Yugoslav identity. This period, known as the January 6th dictatorship, was marked by censorship, political arrests, and a stringent centralization of power. However, the winds of war were brewing. As the 1930s came to a close, the dark shadow of the Second World War loomed over Europe, and Yugoslavia was caught in the crossfire. In 1941, despite attempts to maintain neutrality, Yugoslavia was invaded by the Axis powers. The country quickly fell under occupation, and King Alexander's dream of a unified Yugoslavia seemed more distant than ever. Yet, in the face of adversity, a resistance movement was born. Led by a charismatic communist named Josip Broz Tito, the partisans fought back against the occupying forces. Tito's partisans were a beacon of hope for many Yugoslavs, representing a vision of a united, egalitarian Yugoslavia. The resistance movement grew in strength, attracting the support of the Allies and ultimately playing a pivotal role in liberating Yugoslavia from Axis occupation. As the war ended, a new era was dawning, one that would redefine the country. The royal dictatorship had crumbled, the country had been torn apart by war, but out of the ashes, a new Yugoslavia was about to rise. The stage was set for the rise of communism and the era of Tito, a period that would leave an indelible mark on the nation's history. As the war ended, a new era was dawning, one that would redefine the country. In the aftermath of destruction, a new nation rises, not from the ashes, but from the will of its people. This was the birth of the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia, under the leadership of Josip Broz Tito. Born from the crucible of resistance against the Axis powers during World War II, Tito's Yugoslavia emerged as a beacon of hope amidst the ruins of the old world order. The establishment of the Socialist Federal Republic was an act of defiance, not just against the forces of fascism that had ravaged the country, but also against the ideological divide that was tearing the world apart during the Cold War. Tito's Yugoslavia refused to be a pawn in the game of great powers and charted its own course, a path that was neither wholly capitalist nor socialist, but a unique blend of the two. This era of self-determination was accompanied by a period of significant economic growth and cultural development. The Yugoslav model of worker self-management, where employees were given a say in the running of their workplaces, was seen as a viable alternative to the traditional models of capitalism and communism. The country experienced a golden age of sorts, with advances in education, healthcare, arts, and sports. Culturally, Yugoslavia was a melting pot, where Orthodox, Catholic, and Muslim traditions coexisted and often intertwined, creating a unique Yugoslav identity that transcended ethnic and religious boundaries. This was a time of relative peace and stability, a rare respite in a region historically marred by conflicts. But this period of prosperity was not without its challenges. The country's diverse ethnic and religious makeup, which was its strength, also sowed the seeds of its eventual downfall. The political tensions simmering beneath the surface were held in check by Tito's strong leadership and his policy of brotherhood and unity. But as Tito's life came to an end, so did the stability he had fostered. His death in 1980 left a power vacuum that would soon be filled by nationalist sentiments and ethnic tensions, setting the stage for the tragic disintegration of Yugoslavia in the years to come. Can a nation survive without its unifying figure? Yugoslavia was about to find out. After the death of Josip Broz Tito in 1980, Yugoslavia found itself in uncharted territory. The charismatic leader who had held the diverse country together was no more. The system Tito had put in place, a rotating presidency among the republics, became a hotbed for political instability. The power vacuum left by Tito's death was palpable, and the unity that once held Yugoslavia together began to unravel. As the 80s progressed, the cracks in the Yugoslav Federation became fissures. Economic crisis gripped the nation, leading to high inflation and unemployment rates. The republics of Serbia and Croatia, the two largest in the Federation, began to vie for dominance. This struggle for control, coupled with a resurgence of nationalism, stoked the flames of ethnic tension that had long been simmering beneath the surface. The republics, once united under Tito's vision of brotherhood and unity, now found themselves divided along ethnic and religious lines. Serbs, Croats, Bosniaks, Slovenes, Macedonians, and others all began to assert their distinct identities and rights to self-determination. The federal system, once a symbol of unity, was now a battleground of competing nationalisms. By the end of the decade, the situation had reached a boiling point. The 1990 elections saw nationalist parties rise to power in most of the republics. The rhetoric of unity was replaced by the rhetoric of division. The republics began to break away, one by one, declaring independence. This led to what we now know as the Wars of Yugoslav Succession. These wars, marked by ethnic cleansing and crimes against humanity, would forever mar the image of Yugoslavia. The dream of a unified, prosperous, and peaceful Yugoslavia, once held by many, was now but a distant memory. The dream of a unified Yugoslavia was crumbling. After the storm, what remains of the dream? As the dust settled from the tumultuous dissolution of Yugoslavia, 7 independent nations emerged: Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Montenegro, Macedonia, and Kosovo. The fragmentation was not without its strife and conflict, as borders were redrawn, identities redefined, and people's lives irrevocably altered. The legacy of Yugoslavia is a complex tapestry woven from threads of unity and division, peace and war, prosperity and strife. It is a legacy that is deeply etched in the hearts and minds of those who lived through it, and it continues to shape the socio-political landscape of the Balkans. The dissolution of Yugoslavia left a profound impact on its people. The sense of unity and shared identity that once pervaded the region was replaced by a resurgence of nationalistic fervor. Yet, amidst the division, the spirit of Merak, the ability to find joy in the simplest of things, endures. It is a testament to the resilience of the people, their ability to weather the storm, and their capacity to find light even in the darkest of times. The story of Yugoslavia also serves as a poignant lesson in history. It is a stark reminder of the fragility of peace, the volatility of nationalism, and the complex interplay between ethnicity, religion, and politics. It is a story that underscores the importance of dialogue, understanding, and mutual respect in fostering unity amidst diversity. In many ways, the aftermath of Yugoslavia is a reflection of its history, a confluence of contrasts. It is a story of triumph and tragedy, unity and division, progress and regression. It is a story that continues to unfold as the nations that once formed Yugoslavia chart their own paths, grapple with their shared history, and navigate their way towards a future of peace and prosperity. Yugoslavia, a dream born from war, lived in peace, and died in conflict, leaves behind a complex legacy that continues to shape the Balkans today.